Since you have conducted a lot of different ensembles, a lot of different types of ensembles, a lot of, high school bands all the way up to college bands, have you developed what you would consider your ideal brass sound? Or do you have any inspirations from that?
I was always a fond lover of Chicago, and then oddly enough, a little bit later, Cleveland. Those were the things that I was truly inspired by.
Okay.
But then listening to bands is sometimes almost a different concept, right?
Yeah, definitely.
When you hear some of the great collegiate bands of North Texas is an inspiring brass sound to me. It's dark, it's lush, it doesn't have amazing edge to it, but it's just so well played and so well in what I would call in tone.
Okay.
A great blend, great intonation, those kind of things.
Great
So when
chorus sound.
yeah, there's a fundamental sound to it that when everybody is gelled in terms of blend and the pitch is great and everybody's listening, there's no arrogance within there of anybody fighting it. Boy, the adage of there being so many other ghosts in the room, meaning there's these harmonics that begin to ring in the core of that sound that makes it, what I tell my students is that it makes the paint look deeper suddenly, rather than just the kind of surface color that it starts to be able to look into it with great depth, And there's some ensembles that are just doing an awesome job with that.
Okay.
I think right now, this is my first year doing the wind ensemble here, for instance. And it's been a challenge to start to get them there. It's there.
Yeah.
I just haven't gotten all the parts to gel yet.
Okay.
But they're on their way.
Now, do you listen to any brass musicians like CDs or anything like that to try to get that sound of what, the absolute top quality is, and then try to instill that when you're doing score study and then when you're in the rehearsal to try to get them to make that sound?
Yeah, there's no question. Like for me, personally, okay, my first and foremost thing of saying either I like that recording or I don't like that recording is sound. I don't know why, but you could have fabulous technique and everything else, but if the sound isn't what I want to hear, So for me, if I'm preparing something, I really want to hear a variety of different recordings of it, to see how somebody might have changed the timbre, the color of something, how that came across. And then, yes, I think the majority of it in conducting is trying to push towards developing that sound, and for me, it's changed a bit over the years, no question. I think it went through a stage where it was very dark and not a lot of edge at all.
Yes.
And for me, I think it started to blend more into an orchestral thing. I don't know if that's partially to the composition in bands have changed too so much, that they are. And then when you even see are more probably bent orchestrally now, and especially when you see like the use of C trumpets and so forth, that's certainly going to create a whole another set of timbre than the B flats, right?
Definitely.
So hearing those kinds of things, I think my ears have changed about what I would really like to hear.
Do you have any musicians off the top of the head that you really go to for sound in the brass world?
In the brass world, I would say that would be hard for me to label and put down. For instance, I might have loved Phil Meyer's sound on the horn, just naming some of the guys from the Philharmonic, Joe Alessi. I mean, what a great trombone sound that is, But I don't think, and nor do I think as a conductor, we should have one favorite.
And you just listen to more of an amalgamation, like a lot of
Yeah,
different
so that
together.
you have a variety. They're all, I mean, provided this musician has arrived at this
Yes.
level of, of well respect. I can't believe sometimes I hear people poo-poo somebody else's sound, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not that they're one's bad and one's right or wrong, right? It's well, what's different about it? You know, it's like it's. I often relate things to food, you know,
Yeah.
but it really is like, okay, there's somebody's pasta sauce and it's really great, right? Well, I'm going to try this pasta sauce. Well, that's really good too. It's different,
Yeah.
you know. I think I like this one, right? But for me to track that down, and to be honest, you know, I'm a woodwind player, and so for me to even say that in the clarinet world, let's say, you know, and then look how much classical saxophonists fight over it,
Yes.
right? But as a conductor, I think it's good to have a little bit more open mind about it, and maybe a difference in this of just having a great respect for a variety of different sounds and who produces them and so forth, and then let them amalgamate in your ear, you know.
Can we get back to what you were speaking earlier about students after they leave undergrad? You mentioned graduate school. Now, how do you feel about graduate education right now?
I really feel that I'm a firm believer in master's programs.
Okay.
Great.
Yes.
There's no problem there whatsoever, right? And so, you know, you kind of look at it in the fact that, you know, here you were going into undergraduate, and you're narrowing it down to, well, I'm going to do this career in music, but it's not really super defined yet. There's sort of giving you a lot more options. And then you look at the master's degree. I think it's a great title that you're mastering one specific
Genre,
right, of what you may want to do, whether that be performance on an instrument or conducting or composition or whatever those things are, right? And so then what's the DMA for? You know, what's the AD for, the artist diploma? Artist diplomas I don't have much trouble with, because I think if you're at this level and you think you need a little bit more skill level from somebody, that's terrific. And if colleges can help pay that for you with full tuition, awesome, right? But the DMA is another story. And I think in some respects, universities have turned it into a Ponzi scheme. And they need players.
yes,
And they need players to stock their ensembles, and they need players to hire their teachers and all these kind of things. But for me, you know, some students come to me and say, you know, if I'll ask them immediately, is teaching college something that's on your radar that you really would like to do, as well as carry this performance career? No problem. Get your DMA. Do it. Let's face it. Today's day and age, there are very few people getting full-time gigs at the university level, sort of a Ponzi scheme, but at the university level without that union card, right? You need that DMA to move ahead and get hired. So I think that's, you know, if that's something you want to do, if that's what you see your life, terrific. But I often tell them, if they're saying to me, well, I just really want to perform, I want to perform, I'll say, well, then why not take your money and go study with Joe Alessi, go study with Phil Smith, you know, go study, find the best teacher you can, go out to that area and study with them and start playing.
Freelance.
Start building contacts, start doing those things, okay?
Saying yes to every opportunity.
Yes.
To get
You
your
know,
name out there.
To me, first of all, it would seem to me would be cheaper.
Definitely.
It would get you experience faster, okay? I think be just as valuable as sitting at a university and spending 3 more years doing it, rather than getting the experience. However, there's people like, I know yourself, you know, you would really love to have that job where you're motivating students, you're teaching them trombone, you're working with brass students, you're working in brass ensembles, you're playing. You're not going to be able to get that job without the DMA.
Exactly.
So that's, you know, that was a great choice for you. But I don't think it needs to be the choice of everyone, you know. And sometimes I think we put more weight in academia over the letters after your name than we do with the experience.
Yeah. And what you can actually bring to the
Right.
table.
And that's kind of concerning to me.